the vibrant city of Enugu, a couple named Mr. and Mrs. Uraku lived a comfortable life. They were blessed with 2 children, an energetic 8-year-old boy named Obinna and a bright 6-year-old girl named Kelechi. They had a nice, modest house, 2 cars, and a reputation in the neighborhood for being a happy, blessed family. However, their happiness turned bittersweet after the birth of Kelechi. Mrs. Uraku, who had always dreamt of a large family, found herself unable to conceive again. Desperate for answers, Mrs. Uraku visited the local hospital with her husband. Dr. Okafor, a kind and understanding physician, conducted a thorough examination. "Mrs. Uraku, everything appears normal," he said gently, his eyes filled with compassion. "But sometimes the body just needs time. I encourage you to stay hopeful and trust in God." As they were returning home in their car, Mrs. Uraku broke down in tears. "Chijioke, I feel so empty. I wanted a big family. What did I do to deserve this? Why can't I have another child?" She sobbed, her heart heavy with despair. Her husband, a steadfast and supportive man, patted her lightly on her shoulder. "My love, don't lose faith. God has a plan for us. Just keep praying and believing in God. I believe that one day He will bless us again." Every Sunday, Mrs. Uraku dedicated hours before the crucifix in their local church, praying fervently for a miracle. She promised God, saying, "God, please, if you bless me with another child, I will dedicate the child back to you to serve you." She sobbed bitterly. The congregation admired her faith, but behind closed doors, her heart ached for what seemed like an unattainable dream. Months turned into years, and one fateful morning, just as the first light of dawn broke through the window, Mrs. Uraku felt a change within her. "Chijioke," she called excitedly, "I think I might be pregnant." Weeks later, her suspicions were confirmed. The entire family rejoiced at the news. 9 months later, they welcomed a beautiful baby girl, named Chizitereme, meaning, "God has sent me this one." She was a beautiful baby with soft eyes that sparkled like morning dew, dark curly hair, and a birthmark shaped like a tiny cross on her shoulder. Her birth brought joy and relief to Mrs. Uraku, who praised God for His blessings. As the years rolled by, life took a turn for the worse. With the arrival of Chizitereme, the family's financial situation grew worse. Mr. Uraku, once a proud employee at a construction firm, lost his job due to a company downsizing. The once thriving household now struggled to make ends meet. Chizitereme, despite being a charming and adorable child, faced constant ridicule from her family. "She's cursed," whispered Mrs. Uraku. "An Obanj child," said neighbors. "She have brought misfortunes to her family." Obinna and Kelechi often bullied her, mocking her with cruel names like Olodo, blockhead, and Obanj, a child that brings misfortune, Idibaribo. Their taunts pierced her heart like daggers, leaving her feeling isolated and unwanted. She became the housemaid, sweeping, washing, cooking while Kelechi relaxed. Even Obinna, who sometimes felt pity, would laugh at her to please their parents. She cried herself to sleep many nights. Still, her dream burned in her heart. She wanted to become a doctor to help the suffering. One particular day, Kelechi, in a fit of anger, tore apart Chizitereme's favorite Bible story book, claiming it was cursed. Enraged, Chizitereme retaliated by tearing Kelechi's new dress. Their fight led to a fierce confrontation with their mother. "Chizitereme, how could you?" Mrs. Uraku shouted, her face twisted in fury. "You're nothing but a troublemaker. You bring shame to this family." Chizitereme fell to the floor, tears streaming down her face. "Is this really my home? Am I not your daughter, mother?" She cried, her voice breaking under the weight of despair. That day she received the beatings of her life, a reminder of how unwanted she was. "Enough of this cursed child. You will never amount to anything." Her mother screamed before sending her to her room. Chizitereme felt her spirit shatter, her dreams of becoming a doctor dimming under the harsh realities of her life. In her heart, she longed to be loved, to be accepted for who she was. As time passed, her father grew more distant, consumed by his own failures. He resented Chizitereme for his lost job, blaming her for the family's misfortunes. She often overheard her parents arguing late at night. "It's that girl. I told you, she's the reason for our downfall," Mr. Uraku would exclaim in frustration. After the third-term examinations, as the children returned from school, Obinna and Kelechi, beaming with smiles, ran to their parents. "Mom and Dad, We are promoted to a new class. Obinna said, beaming with a smile. I came first in my class again. Mum, I am a genius, not some blockhead that has nothing to show for. Kelechi said, mocking her sister. Chizitereme, bring your report booklet, let me see. She was shaking and scared because she was warned previously that if she fails again, that she would be withdrawn from school. She handed her report booklet to her mother with trembling hands. You are such a disgrace, no more school for you, Olodo, you will not continue with your education. Her mother said as she scanned her report booklets. I cannot continue to pay school fees for a cursed child like you. Chizitereme wept bitterly, as her siblings mocked her endlessly. Chizitereme was forced to drop out of school. You're a disgrace. Her father spat one evening as she stood before him, her head bowed. You will no longer waste our time or money. Heartbroken, she was sent to hawk fruits on the streets of Enugu, enduring the scorching sun and the harsh words of strangers. However, amid the pain and suffering, she found solace in the presence of God. Each evening, after a long day of selling, she would sneak away to the church, where she found comfort in reading the Holy Bible and praying for strength and guidance. But God sent her an angel in Machi. She was her only friend. Machi came from a simple family but had a big heart. She taught Chizitereme with her own books and snuck her food. They created a hideout in an abandoned building near the church. Someday I will save lives, Chizitereme said, her eyes shining with hope. You will, Chitsi. I believe in you, Machi smiled. You are my sister, Chitsi, Machi would say. Forget what they say. You're not a mistake. You just have to believe in yourself. The two girls would share dreams of the future, and while Chizitereme aspired to become a doctor, Machi dreamt of becoming a teacher. One day, Mr. Uraku returned home with some money, a rare occurrence that sparked hope within the family. From a soon-to-be-signed contract, he bought gifts for everyone except Chizitereme. While her siblings licked ice cream and unwrapped toys, she sat in a dark corner, tears rolling down her face. God, she whispered, why do they hate me so much? I can't believe Papa would forget me again, she whispered to herself, retreating to her corner to cry. She fell asleep on the floor, her cheeks wet with tears. When the day of the contract came, everything went wrong. Mr. Uraku lost the deal. He came home shattered. The contract is gone. The money's gone, he said, eyes full of tears as he recounted the story to his family. I failed and it's all because of her, he shouted, pointing an accusing finger at Chizitereme, who was not even home at the time. When she returned from church that evening, she was met with a storm of anger. You witch! You did this, her mother yelled, and before she knew it, she was beaten mercilessly. Get out! Don't ever return, her father barked, his voice laced with fury. Devastated and confused, she ran away from home, the tears streaming down her face as she stumbled through the streets. She had nowhere to go. As night fell, she found herself at the entrance of her mother's provision shop, too afraid to return home. The night was cold and all she could do was pray, clutching her Bible tightly. The following morning, while wandering the streets, she encountered Nmachi and her mother, who were coming back from morning prayer. Chizitereme, what happened? Nmachi gasped, her eyes wide with concern. Chizitereme, exhausted and shaken, shared her story through choked sobs, twisting her clothes in despair. Come with us, Nmachi's mother said gently, pulling her into a warm embrace. You can stay with us until things get better. The love and kindness offered to her felt like a balm to her wounded heart. They drove to their modest but welcoming home, a place filled with laughter and warmth. However, when Machi's parents approached the Uraku family to speak to them, they were met with hostility. We don't want that cursed child in our home, Mr. Uraku spat. If you take her in, you'll bring misfortune upon your family. Despite their rejection, Machi's family persisted. After several weeks of pleading with the Urakus to accept their daughter back, it was in vain. Rather, they finally convinced Machi's parents to allow Chizitereme to stay with them, that she is not wanted in their home. They left for their home. That night after dinner, they were in their room discussing about Chizitereme. We have one child, Mrs. Nubisai argued gently with her husband. She deserves a chance, she said to her husband gently, with tears in her eyes. What if the Urakus start with their trouble? What are we going to do? Okay, I understand your fears. Please, my husband, she pleaded. But he was still having doubts, and Machi knocked and entered her parents' room. She saw worry etched on her parents' faces. "Please let her stay. Our daughter needs a sister," she said. At first he refused. But when Machi cried and held his hand, "Please, Daddy," she said. "Okay, I will do anything for you, my sunshine," her father said. And he decided to adopt Chizitereme as their own. Months later they relocated to Lagos. There, Chizitereme began a new life with the Ndubisi family. They treated her like one of their own, and for the first time she felt the warmth of love and acceptance. She was determined to make the most of her second chance. Her new parents encouraged her in her studies, and with their support, Chizitereme flourished academically. Every night she prayed, "God, help me prove them wrong." She never forgot her dream to be a doctor, and she stayed away from boys and parties. Her mission was clear: serve God, heal lives, and become a successful doctor. As she studied late into the night, fueled by the determination to fulfill her dream of saving lives. 14 years later, at the age of 24, she was called Dr. Chizitereme Uraku. The name was on the lips of many. She was a brilliant surgeon. She had everything, but still no bitterness. She never forgot her roots. Her prayers remained the same: "Thank you, Lord. Let me always be a blessing." She also worked as a missionary, doing charity, preaching in villages and helping those in need. She wore simple clothes, loved people, and served God with all her heart. Back in Enugu, the once proud Uraku family had fallen. Mr. Uraku was sick. Obinna had lost his job. He struggled with debts. His children were hungry. Kelechi had married twice, but both marriages ended in shame. She couldn't conceive. Her flashy lifestyle had caught up with her. The community mocked them. "Bad luck, family," they whispered. One day her team came to a village in Enugu for a medical outreach. She didn't know it was her hometown because she had never been there. She stumbled upon a group of villagers gathered around an old man lying on the ground, frail and unconscious. As she rushed to help, her heart sank when she realized who it was. It was her father, Mr. Uraku. "Papa, Papa, are you okay?" "It is me, Chizitereme." "Chizitereme? Is that really you?" he stammered, confusion etched on his face as he struggled to recognize his daughter. But he was so weak that he fainted and was rushed to the hospital for treatment. She sent one of her assistants to her parents' home to fetch her mum to the hospital. There she saw them. Her mum, her brother, his wife, her nieces and nephews. Poor, hungry and broken. "Who are you?" Obinna asked, confused by the striking woman before them. "Chizitereme," she revealed, her voice trembling. They stared at her in shock. Tears filled their eyes as they finally recognized her. "Chitsi?" her mother asked, tears falling. Children clung to her white coat. "Auntie Chitsi," they screamed even though they had just met her. Meanwhile, news reached Kelechi that her father was seriously sick. She came in wearing a blue midi satin flower dress. When she saw her sister, she froze. She fell to the ground. "Chitsi, please forgive me," she wept. "I called you names. I cursed you. I never knew you'd shine brighter than us." Chizitereme knelt beside her and lifted her up. "I forgave you long ago," she whispered. "God gives us all second chances." The Uraku family was left in tears as they grappled with their past mistakes. "Please forgive us," Mrs. Uraku begged, her heart breaking. "I was not a curse," Chizitereme replied, her voice steady. "I was a blessing in disguise. You mistreated me, but God had a plan." The air was thick with emotion as the siblings shared memories, pain, and the heavy burden of regret. "Daddy, you'll be okay," she reassured him, holding his hand tightly as he entered the operating room. After her father's recovery, she called her family together. She took them to Enugu town to surprise them. "This is for all of you," she said, tears glistening in her eyes as she unveiled the new house she bought for them. Gave Obinna a huge money to start a business and send his kids to a good school. She gave Kelechi 3 million naira to restart her clothing business. "Chizitereme, you've done too much," Obinna protested, surprise evident in his voice. "No," she replied firmly. "This is just the beginning." To her mother she said, "You promised God you'd return to thank him and give me back to him if he blesses you. But you forgot. That's why misfortune came. You called me cursed. But I was your blessing." Her mother wept. "I forgot my vow. I let my pride blind me. I see now you were a blessing." Her mother sobbed. "I'm sorry. I was blind. God is merciful. He gave you a second chance, Mother." They all cried. Then they hugged. As the months passed, the Uraku family began to find their footing again. Chizitereme organized family dinners, fostering an environment of love and support. They would sit together at the table, laughter echoing through the walls as they shared stories from their past, each revelation a step toward healing. Kelechi, with Chizitereme's guidance, opened a big boutique in Enugu town. She worked diligently, transforming her life and regaining her self-esteem. One day after work, Kelechi came home with a surprise for Chizitereme. "I found this beautiful dress that reminded me of you. I want you to have it." She beamed with a smile, her heart warming. "Thank you, Kele. You have such a beautiful spirit." They embraced tightly, both realizing the bond that had been rekindled. Chizitereme looked at her sister. "You've always been enough, Kele. Don't let anyone make you feel otherwise. I've realized that we were never cursed." Chizitereme proclaimed, her voice resonating with confidence. "We were merely being prepared for something greater." Kelechi squeezed her hand, tears of joy streaming down her face. "I'm so proud of you, sis. You're not just my sister, you're my inspiration." One evening, after a particular heartfelt conversation, Obinna raised his glass of palm wine. "To family. We may have been broken, but together we can be whole again. To family." Chizitereme and Kelechi echoed, their hearts swelling with newfound love. And finally, peace came to the Uraku family. Moral lessons and proverbs. The chicken that does not crow today may lay golden eggs tomorrow. Treat every child with love and fairness, because God blesses homes through the most unexpected people. Never judge a child by their struggles. Every child is a seed planted by God, and not all seeds grow the same way. Please like, subscribe, drop your comments and share my videos. Thanks for watching.